Hi, Crom! It's a new video. It's been a long time since I uploaded one of these videos for you guys to take a look at. Spent most of my year writing blog articles. These videos just take too much time, and I don't have a lot of time to get all of them filmed and edited and crap. When I do the blog posts, I've written like 60 of them over the last year, and if you guys are interested, you can certainly check those out here. Over the past year, quite a few of those blog posts have over 1,000 views. And on YouTube, after 2 years, I have 4 videos with 1,000 views. So that's not very good. Just means that I do more work on the blog than I do on the YouTube channel. I get more views and more reach that way. That being said, obviously I'm not opposed to doing videos, since I'm doing one right now. Before we get too deep into this video, I want to go back to a segment that the people that I have talked to in person about the channel seem to really like, and I don't want to, miss out on that. So we're going to take some nice zero-issue beer, which was the sponsor for our recent 2019 RPG Alliance convention, and we're going to do a new segment. Well, not a new segment, a renamed segment. So let's drink to his shade. All right, I got my beer. I got my glass. This is a pale ale from Zero Issue Beer Brewing called Multiverse Pale Ale. You can see they got really cool art on all their cans. And they're, if you're in Calgary and you go down to their tap house, they are very gamer friendly. Let's say that. So let's open this up, give her a pour into here, and see what we get. All right. Let's get a nice pour into here. Can't see it's not much better, but it's a little bit better. Pour nice and slow so I don't get that nasty head on it like I always do. All right, we're just going to stop there. All right, so now we're all poured up. You guys got some knowledge on pale ales. Let's take a look at this. Golden amber color. Yeah, that's pretty descriptive of this fine beverage. So the color looks really nice. I like that. I don't have a hugely good nose, but I want to say that there's maybe a slight aroma of hops in here. For full disclosure, I've tasted this beer before, and I don't think it's hoppy like an IPA is. But I think I can smell them on here. So let's give her a taste, see what we think. This is the favorite part. I was prepping for this, and after reading that pale ales are supposed to be like hop forward, after smelling it, thinking that it might have some of that hoppy taste to it, I'm going to go with my original assessment. I think this is not heavy, heavier than like a lager, but still pretty light and easy to drink. This beer, I'm going to say, is on the maltier side of hoppy. Like, I don't think there's that much of a hop flavor to it. There's more, I think, malt in it, but maybe I'm just insane. Who knows? But either way, I've been drinking this one for a little bit. I've been drinking a lot of the Zero Issue beers. As I said, they were the beer sponsor for our convention we just had last week. And they had specials for beers at the pub we held the convention at. And so look forward to this convention next year, 2020. Maybe they'll sponsor us again and you can get a good deal on beer and play RPGs. But we got to give this a rating. I'm going to give it 4 skulls of my enemies. And now let's talk about the next segment, which is why we're actually here. I'm not really here to drink beer, but I like to drink beer. So a while back, I started GMing at conventions. In fact, this last convention I've been talking about was my 1-year anniversary. I started 1 year ago at that convention last year. When I started these conventions, I tried to make my kit as portable as possible. The only thing that I had that was big and heavy that first year were my books. I've since gotten rid of my books and gone to an Amazon tablet, one of the 10-inch ones. They're like $150 on sale on Amazon, so highly recommend them. Along with the Zodo application, which is XODO. It's a good PDF reader, lets you put in bookmarks and all that kind of fun stuff. Great for rules. Thanks, Chris. So I tried that for the first couple of conventions. I did that for RPG Alliance. I did that for the Calgary Expo as well. And then we came to FallCon, and I was like, screw it. Went and bought a big tote. decided with the Ultimate Dungeon Terrain, I was just going to use really full terrain because that full terrain is cooler and it's just a better impact on the people that are coming into Conan. And I want to make the best impact I can. These people are probably familiar with Conan, but they're not maybe familiar with the Conan that I know, and I want them to learn a little bit about Howard and a little bit about his world. So I wanted to have the biggest splash I could. I went and grabbed myself a Lazy Susan. I built myself some Ultimate Dungeon Terrain, and I used that to keep my terrain down, keep everything in a small space. I rolled into the convention. I used it. It was really good. But of course, things aren't that simple. Well, they're kind of that simple. Using new terrain, wanted to make a big splash. Needed some new terrain, didn't I? So part of this adventure was called the Claw. Well, the entire adventure was called Claw of the Serpent. And in this adventure, the party had to go to like a ruined city in the desert and find some kind of artifact or something. I actually don't even remember what the entire plot was. But that's what they did. So in this desert, I needed to have these black stone walls jutting out of the desert. And although I wanted to have the majority of the adventure take place underground, I wanted one scene where they had to break into the city. And so I needed some of these rooms that were sticking up out of the desert. And so this video was born. So basically I want to take you guys on a simple step-by-step concept of how I built this and the techniques I used. And then you can use those to go out and build your own desert terrain if you're so inclined. I used this to build a couple different pieces. I'm only going to go over one of the pieces. I used the exact same techniques to build the second piece. You can see it in some of the pictures in the background with the big kind of door on it. That's how they had to get in. But anyways, that is enough of my rambling. I still got a little bit of beer left, so I'm going to go over to the studio and we will get this build on. So thanks for tuning in. And don't forget, if you like everything on this channel, to give it a like. If you want to subscribe to see more content when it comes out, which is pretty haphazard right now, don't forget to hit subscribe. If you want to get notified, hit that bell icon, and we will see you at the end of the video. But we probably won't, because I never show up at the end of the video. So, until next time, Crom doesn't care. The base is cut from 1/4 inch MDF. It's in an organic shape, just using a basic jigsaw. Now we're going to bevel that base just like the sample base I've already prepared. Using a sharp utility knife, go around the edge of the base and make a bevel. Using a sharp knife is crucial. The blade has a better chance of slipping and cutting you. Still, use caution. Go back over the bevel and make sure it's at an angle that you like. That's looking pretty good. Now we're going to use an emery board I got from Amazon. This one's a 180/100 grit. Pretty coarse. Just use the stick to even out the roughness left by the utility knife. Want a nice organic sloped surface. Once you're happy with the bevel, we can move on to building the runes. You can cut individual bricks, but I elected to build mine out of strips made from 1/4 inch XPS foam. Square off the 1/4 inch foam and cut strips from the foam with a knife or hot wire cutter. When cutting the XPS with a knife, use multiple shallow passes. Now a quick check to make sure we have enough foam to build a wall tall enough for a miniature. It's looking pretty good. Now we'll cut the strips about 1/4 inch wide, giving us our 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch bricks. Cut as many strips as you need. I used 3 or 4 strips for my ruined wall. Now we can take our strips and take some time to figure out the layout we want to use. I built a nice corner layout here with a couple bricks kind of just laying all over the place like a wrecked wall at one point in time. I liked how it turned out though. Once you've got your layout figured out, use some hot glue, put it in place, make sure the glue isn't too hot to melt the foam, Once the glue is set, you can use a small X-Acto knife to draw in your brick pattern. I made mine a little wonky because I want it to be a little bit alien. Once you have your cuts made, go back over the cuts with a ballpoint pen or pencil to widen the detail. Once you have one side done, just continue the pattern across the rest of your walls. Next, we mix up some Sculptamold using the standard recipe in the bag. For other Sculptamold ideas, check out Wylock, Luke's APS, and Blackmagic Craft. Place some of it where you want your sand dunes to be, drifting it up against the walls like the wind blew it there. Once you got it in place, we're going to smooth it out with my fingers, or your fingers, whatever. After it's dried a little bit, you can smooth it out further just by dampening your fingers with a little bit of water and working it smooth. Let the Sculptamold dry, and then we can move on to texturing. Nothing fancy here, just cover the desert area with PVA or similar, and then pour sand all over it. Let the PVA dry for a few hours. Dump the sand off when dry and reapply glue to areas that need it. Recover with sand and let dry again. Once it has had time to dry, dump the sand off again and make sure you got good coverage. This is looking pretty good now, so let's move on to painting. We'll start with a good coat of Blackmagic coating, just Mod Podge and black paint from Blackmagic Craft. Make sure you got good coverage. The black paint should allow you to see what's been coated. This just gives it a little bit harder, more resilience in the foam. Now we're going to move on to a burnt umber to base coat the desert areas. You can water down the paint and add some flow aid to get it to flow into the detail if necessary. I did that a little bit with mine, just to get it to fall on all that little, all that texture, all those bumps. Next, we're gonna wet blend in some burnt sienna or other red, just to give a little variation in our base coat. Once that is dry, I'm gonna get some cashmere tan and give it a pretty solid dry brush. If you don't have cashmere tan, this is simply the darkest of your three desert tan colors. Move on to tan for some more dry brushing. Aim for about 50% less coverage than the previous step. Finally, use an oatmeal or your lightest tan and give it a light dry brush to add a little bit more highlighting. So we're going to use 3 layers of tan, dark, medium, and light. I've chosen shiny black stones for my runes, but you can do whatever works for you. So get a nice black and paint all the exposed brick, stonework, whatever you want to call it. Now we're going to take a nice glossy varnish and cover the black. You can give it a couple coats to make sure it's polished and shiny as you would like it to look. That finishes up the build. You can use these techniques to build any number of desert runes. Let's take a look at these on the table. Here we have some heroes fighting some snake people over these runes we just built. You can see a second piece built with the same ideas in the background. I also included some runic pillars on the table that we built way back in episode 17. Alright, thanks for checking out the video. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to check out these other cool videos from Starships and Steel.